Hello, it's Jansen, and I think I just watched my favorite episode of The Last of Us ever. Yes, I really do think that Season 2, Episode 6 of The Last of Us, The Price, is the best thing the show has ever done. And if not the best, at least my favorite thing. It really resonated with me in a way that only a few episodes of this show ever have, and believe me, I was building up my expectations all week and it still exceeded them. First, let's talk about the episode overall and then we can dive a little deeper. I definitely think this is an episode that you had to knock out of the park. With everything that's happened this season and everything that we expect to happen with Ellie's story and the episodes moving forward, you had to have an episode like this, which rooted us in and reminded us of why we love Ellie, why we love Joel, and most importantly, why Ellie loves Joel. So far this season, in the short time we spent with Joel, yes, he was a cool old man helping the town, but we haven't seen him lovingly interact with Ellie since Season 1, which was several years ago to us viewers and to the story. So you had to execute this episode flawlessly through those flashbacks, building the relationship of Ellie and Joel throughout the last 5 years, and man did they. So now let's jump into that episode. As a dad myself, it's definitely the most father episode that we've had so far in the show, and it even starts out with a dad, Joel and Tommy's dad to be specific. Their father is coming home and Joel is getting ready to take the fall for Tommy, and it really highlights exactly who Joel is and who he has been apparently ever since a young age. He's someone who protects, and he's someone who protects his own. Plus, it gives us a great starting point and a great place to come back to at the end of the episode with the line,
You know, when it's your turn, I hope you do a little better than me.
and if that isn't every dad's thought process, I don't know what is. You want just a little better for your kids than you had, even if you had it great. And you want to do a little bit better for your kids than your parents did for you. After the cold open, that's when the floodgates of emotion really open. Through all the flashbacks, you really get to paint that picture of a father and daughter, or really just a parent and child relationship over the last several years. And many of these scenes are straight out of the game. And similar to the giraffe scene in Season 1 and in the first iteration of the game, the spaceship scene is something that has been built up in fans of the game's mind throughout this entire season. And both the giraffe scene and the spaceship scene, in my mind, serve similar purposes, which is a small, brief break in Ellie's life from this unrelenting, dreadful world that she's currently in. So often there is another bad guy on the horizon. So often there's another horrible situation on the horizon, which we have seen over and over again and which will continue to happen. As you can see, these are flashbacks, and in the present, bad things are happening. But just for a moment, we're able to take a break with Ellie and breathe and smile. Ellie can actually be a child just like Joel urges her to do. Why go on patrols when we can climb to the tops of dinosaurs or fly away in spaceships? It serves as such an important reminder that although she has been through so much, Ellie is still a kid. And if you're enjoying this video, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel because I'm excited to keep talking TV with you. All right, back to it. Of course, all these flashbacks are not all lollipops and cupcakes, although they mainly do focus on her birthday. But as any growing child, Ellie is feeling the need to grow and grow away from her parent figure, which is Joel, get out of the nest and do something else with her life, i.e. move to the garage. But also on top of that, she has growing suspicions about what actually happened in that hospital. She feels she has been lied to, which she has, and that is putting a large wedge in their relationship. Whether it's this severe of an example or not, I do think that these flashbacks in this episode as a whole are a perfect example of every parent's inevitable fear of what will happen in their relationship, which often becomes reality. One day your kiddo is looking at you from the inside of a spaceship like you're their hero and their whole world revolves around you, and the next they're saying, "It's late and I want to move to the garage." I think this is probably a natural progression for a relationship. Teens rebel and move away for a little bit, but we all hope that we have enough time that that teenager turns into a young adult and they realize and come back around to the parent. It's just unfortunate because in this case we know that that ultimate reconciliation won't come to happen. And honestly, that makes it hurt that much more. And then we finally get the nail in the coffin, the thing that we've been hinting at all year, the Eugene flashback. And even this, I had a guess about what would happen, and I was close, but the creators were still able to flip it on its head just enough to throw me off balance. I figured this whole time, and my wife had the same prediction, that Eugene saw Ellie get bitten, and of course Joel had to do what he had to do. And that made a lot of sense to me because Ellie would still be upset about that, but this little change in my prediction to what actually happened, I think works even better. Because if Ellie had gotten bitten and Eugene saw it, yes, Ellie would be mad at Joel for doing what he did, but she'd probably understand it a little bit more. In this situation, though, Eugene really didn't see anything, and so what Joel does really has no justification, except in his mind, still protecting Ellie, but Ellie doesn't see it that way. For Ellie, she sees something that's entirely possible. We could take Eugene back, he could talk to Gail, and all will be good. But the way that Joel goes about doing what he does and the way he lies to Ellie's face, Ellie then knows that he lied about the hospital situation and what happened to her. This subtle confirmation, I think, is so well done that yes, we do have the scene later where she straight up asks him, but she's had so many questions about what actually happened there, and you see it bubbling in her mind that when Joel is so easily able to lie, make up a story to Gail, lie to her face and to Ellie, she knows that this is what happened to her in her situation. I also think it does a great job of reminding us that while we love Joel and we love Ellie, none of these characters are perfect, which makes this show so good. Yes, Joel and Ellie are our heroes, quote unquote. They are our protagonists. They are who we are rooting for, and they are who the show is following. But Joel specifically has done some crazy things. He's done them for what he thinks are the right reasons, but at the end of the day, he's done some unspeakable things. And we have to address that. We have to address that, and Ellie has to address that. And she does that by telling Gail exactly what happened, and you can see the look of betrayal on Joel's face, but I think it's more a look of, I've been found out, she's hurt, and now she's hurting me, kind of, but what really hurts me is this relationship almost seems beyond repair. And that brings us right back around to the fireflies and then finally to the porch scene. Yes, this interaction with Gail and Eugene did confirm for Ellie, and she knows deep down what Joel has done, probably like she always has, and that confirmed it, but she wants to hear it from him. And the porch scene in the game versus the show, there's so much buildup, and once again, that pressure from people who love the game to deliver on this TV series. I remember that it destroyed me in the game when they showed this porch scene and flashback to it, and guess what? The TV show did the exact same thing. Incredible stuff from Pedro Pascal, incredible stuff from Bella Ramsey. These two actors are tearing my heart out and stomping on it.
But if somehow I had a second chance at that moment, I would do it all over again.
Because you're selfish.
Because I love you.
I think it's a masterful scene between two characters who are going through so much, and to also think that this is the last conversation they ever have is almost too much to bear. They were trying, they were going to come back together, and now they can't. Even now, it's tearing me up. It is so good that they end up in a good place, but it's also even more heartbreaking because really all I can think of is Joel on the floor after what Abby did, raising his finger as his last motion toward Ellie, and I know that deep down he's using his last strength to think of this porch moment, to think of them reconciling. And he's thinking about how they never truly got back to where he wanted them to be. All those flashbacks paint the picture that Joel just wanted to be a dad again. Ah, man, it is just so good. In a show that is about zombies and the apocalypse and hurt and death. It's my favorite thing when scenes like this can transcend that story. And this could be a scene in any other kind of show and knock it out of the park. It takes away the setting, it takes away the world we're in, and you just have these two characters having a moment that is relatable, that is grounded. At the end of the day, this episode is a love story between a father and a daughter who have fallen apart and want to come back together. And for one reason or another, in this case, a worldwide apocalypse and a person coming to kill them, they just can't. But that is a story that could be told in this world, in a sci-fi world, in a romantic comedy world. There are so many ways that this could be told, but they've done it here in The Last of Us in a masterful way. And if that story doesn't resonate with you, if this episode doesn't resonate with you, well, I can't help you. And this episode, to me, more than achieved its goal. I'm riding for Ellie and her quest for vengeance more than I have in weeks. What she did to Nora, justified. Let's ride, let's get the whole squad. We're doing this for Joel, let's go get Abby. Well, as you can see, this one hit me pretty hard, and that's why you don't have to guess the rating. 5 stars, easy. What did you think about the episode? What do you think about the season so far? Let me know in the comments, and we will talk soon.